It's webinar day.
Hey, happy holidays.
Welcome to our 12 days event brought to you by Office Dynamics International. It is day 8 of our 12 Days of Christmas webinar series. Hello, everyone. Say hello in the chat. It's great to see you. Look at all the people coming in from all over the place.
There are some from Michigan.
Yes, so is it snowy where you are? Are you watching from home, enjoying a snow day perhaps? Well, we're in Las Vegas, so there's no snow here, but we'd love to hear from you. We hope that you've been enjoying this webinar series as much as we have. Today, I'm curious to hear from you. What is your preferred method of wrapping presents? Are you a gift wrap person with fancy bows and ribbons and curls all over? Or are you a gift bag person? Stick some tissue paper in it and you're done. Let us know in the chat just for fun. Okay, we do have a couple of notes for you before the webinar today. We do have a handout, and that can be found at the handout link that will be provided in the chat, which was also shared with you in your webinar reminder email. So watch for that link. If you don't have your handout, it's just an outline of Joan's talking points for today. Also, please remember to stay tuned until the end of our 30-minute program for the special offer and giveaway for today. We're doing that every single day at the end of the program, so be sure to stay tuned. We also share a certificate of attendance with you in the follow-up blog post from this program, so watch for that every day to be published along with any other notes from the program. Those are found at officedynamics.com/blog. Okay, well, I am ready to hand this program over to Joan so we can all hear more about building a star partnership. Welcome, Joan.
Good morning, good morning. Hello to everyone, although it's afternoon in some parts of the country. And well, happy Monday, first of all, to everyone. And I do hope you're staying warm. I talked to my daughter in Michigan yesterday, heard there was tons of snow, and I guess today is a snow day for the kids. And also talked to my family in Ohio and heard there's lots of snow there. Which I kind of hope it lasts because I'm heading in that direction for Christmas holiday, and that's the only time of year I like snow is at Christmas. So I hope you're all staying warm and cozy today. And for Jasmine's question, I love to gift wrap. And my son will also tell you a little joke if he were talking on here, how the family laughter is about how I want to save the bows every year. So when we were celebrating Christmas yesterday with my son, I'm there about telling everyone, you got to save the bow, you got to save the bow. And they all laugh at me because I recycle my bows from year to year. So I have a huge collection of bows because I also add new bows every year. Well, today is going to be a great day. We're going to talk about building a star partnership, which is one of my favorite topics, probably the most important topic, because it's near and dear to my heart. But there is really, the main reason is there is no more of an important relationship in the workplace than that of an executive and assistant. And I'll use the word executive, whether you work with a manager, a director, but let's refer to the term executive. And I remember when I was an assistant for 20 years, that partnership was really important to me. And I had some okay relationships, but I was also fortunate to have 3 executives in that 20-year time who truly taught me how to build a partnership. And so a lot of what I've been doing the last, several years is really thanks to the executives who taught me what it was like to be a partner. And then being on the other side of the desk, I know how important it is as an executive to feel like your administrative person truly is your partner. So the ideas I'm sharing with you are some of the best tips I could share with you. And the first tip is the top. This is the golden nugget here that I'm going to give you. So if you remember nothing else, and the first bullet, it says communicate, communicate, communicate. I can't say that enough. to assistants. So many of assistants' issues and problems and challenges with their executives would be solved if they would just communicate, and I mean talk. So let me clarify when I'm talking about this communication. It does include emailing, but also you will resolve and get better clarification when you actually talk to each other. And in a moment, we'll talk about the daily huddles. Within communication, you need to clarify your expectations. You need to clarify their expectations. When I talk about communicating, it's everything from giving your executive a heads up on where different projects are in tasks to communicating if you sense that there is something awry within the department or in the people who report to them. So communication should be an ongoing daily thing. And one, I know assistants often will tell me, well, I don't want to bother my executive. You know, she's so busy, I don't want to bother her. But you have to understand, by not interrupting and getting the clarification you need, you're causing rework. You could cause quality of the work to suffer. You could cause embarrassment to your executive because you're not getting something clarified. So there's all kinds of things that can have a negative domino effect by not taking the time to communicate. The second bullet, this is a number 2 for a reason, because this is my next best tip in words of advice, are to have one-on-one times with your executive. Really important. I refer to them a lot as daily huddles. And that's because I heard an executive use that term years ago. And I thought, well, executives, that's probably a word that they could relate to, having a daily huddle with you. And we have daily huddles here at Office Dynamics. It is a habit of ours and has been a habit for, goodness, 10 years. Jasmine's been with me. So we tend to, or try to meet first thing in the morning before our day gets started and we get into all the busyness of the day. Now this week, or the last few days have been a little different because we've been hosting, you know, the 12 days and doing the webinars every day. And we do have to be ready and geared up for those. So, but normally what we do is we'll meet soon after those and touch base. The one-on-one meetings are, I would say, vital to your success as an assistant because it gives you time, again, to clarify expectations, to make sure you're clear on the tasks that you've been asked to do. There is an entire list of things that you could cover when you have a daily huddle. Some of the topics that you would discuss are calendars, for example. We are human. We do make mistakes. It's easy to put the wrong date down for a meeting or the wrong time, especially if you're working with, you know, different time zones. So when you have your morning touch base, you should clarify the meetings for today and make sure you confirm the times and where that meeting is being held. But go beyond that. Get context around the meeting. Ensure that your executive has everything ready that they need to take to that meeting. Do they have all their materials? Are they fully prepared? So it's not just going through a checklist. Well, at 9 o'clock, you have this meeting, and at 10 o'clock, you go to the marketing meeting, and at 1 o'clock, you have a meeting with, you know, Mary Sue. It's talking a little bit more about what that meeting is going to encompass and ensuring your executive is prepared for that meeting. And it doesn't hurt to even go through the next day's schedule because there may be things that you have to prepare today or your executive has to prepare to be ready for the next day's meetings. In our daily huddles, we are always reviewing where we are with our different projects. So status updates are very important. Executive often wonder where their assistants are, you know, along the path of getting a project done. and they don't like to always have to ask their assistant, where they are in the midst of that project. So you want to take the initiative and provide the status update to your executive. It's also a great time to talk about upcoming travel, upcoming meetings, anything major that's on the horizon. So I'm a big fan of daily huddles for a couple reasons. One is it really gives you that time to bond with your executive. I loved that when I was an assistant because my executives were so busy that I hardly saw them throughout the day. But our morning huddle, that was our time. We got our cup of coffee, we sat, we went through our list together, and they move fairly quickly if you do it on a regular basis. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to take a half hour. I mean, in fact, if you do it on a regular basis or hold meetings on a regular basis, you're keeping all the information flowing so they go quickly. The third one is both parties should be committed to building a partnership. So do you really know where your executive stands with wanting to build a partnership? Have you ever really had that discussion, with your manager around what a partnership should look like? Do they want a partnership? Do they want to, grow that partnership? Because there are some executives, unfortunately, who really don't want to. And that's sad. I remember several years ago, we had an executive assistant attend our world-class assistant boot camp, our high-end boot camp that we have for assistants. And she had been working with her executive. She worked for a large corporation. If I told you the name, you would know it instantly. She had worked with this supposedly great executive for 5 years. Well, in world-class assistant, we talk about really building that partnership, building a strategic partnership, getting engaged in the scope of your executive's work, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today as well. Well, she was so excited and she wanted to really have the strategic partnership with her executive. She went back and talked to him about everything she had learned and how to build that strategic partnership, and said she really wanted to have that and grow that type of relationship. Much to her dismay, he wasn't interested. It was sad. And it does happen every once in a while, I have to tell you, but it is rare. So what happened? You're probably wondering, what did she do? She had worked with that executive for 5 years. Well, they really talked through it. And they agreed that she might be better suited for, supporting someone else in the organization who truly wanted to have that strategic partnership. Now, on the other hand, I could tell you probably hundreds of success stories of assistants who have had these types of discussions with their executives, and their executives are thrilled. In fact, I'm in the middle of a coaching project right now with a high-level executive and her assistant. I was at their office right before Thanksgiving. I spent a whole day there, and we talked about how they could take their partnership to the next level. And what I had found out in my observations is that the executive assistant wanted to do more for the executive, but the executive admitted that she really didn't know how to utilize her executive assistant. What does an executive assistant really do, and how do we build that partnership? Well, this executive was so excited when I told her about how to build a strategic partnership. So going back to you, how do you have that conversation? And if you haven't, I would like to challenge you to set that as a New Year goal. When you come back after the holidays, try to have some time with your executive. And don't talk about your to-do list. Talk about, what do you want to accomplish in 2017? How do you want to take your partnership or relationship from where it is today to the next level? And then that'll fall into your processes and how you're going to approach doing that. But you first have to get on the same page and have your executive talk to you. What do they think your partnership should look like? What do they think are the qualities and traits of good partners? Get them to talk to you, to speak to you. So this way you'll know how to align yourself. The next is the next tip, regularly clarify expectations and perceptions. So these are two different things for me when I am teaching. Perceptions have to do with perceptions of your role and perceptions of the quality of your work. So what are your perceptions of your role in the partnership? What are your executives' perceptions of your role as an administrative professional and of the relationship? Perceptions of the quality of work that you're doing. Are they the same? And in fact, in our the Executives and Assistants Working in Partnership Guide, which many of you hopefully do have, I have some assessments in the back of this guide. And this particular one has to do with expectations. And it's a little list that you go through, and your executive goes through it as well. And you measure in terms of expectations, is this particular task being performed, and what about the quality, the level of that? So expectations then are tied to tasks. An example, let me give you an example. I think this will help. So one example in here is, and these are different tasks or responsibilities an assistant might perform. The first one I have is promotes a balanced life for leader, because a lot of leaders today are expecting their assistants to help them have a little more, I won't say, well, balance in their life in terms of making sure their personal life is being taken care of. So how would you rate yourself, on that? Is that something that you expect yourself to do? Are you doing it? And if so, how well do you think you're doing it? And then your executive would also say, well, do I expect my assistant to do this? Yes, I do. Has he or she been doing this? Well, yes, they have. And at what level, would I rate it? And then you would discuss with each other what was the rating that you ended up with, and were you on the same page with that rating? So that's really important to be very, very clear and talk about expectations and perceptions throughout the entire year. This is different than a performance review. This is just making sure that you're in alignment with what your executive is expecting of you. And it's not really just what they expect of you. You also have expectations, right? You expect to get certain information and things from your executive. So if your expectations are not being met, if you're not getting clear direction, if you're not getting enough one-on-one time with your executive, it's your responsibility to talk to your executive. And that goes back to my first strategy: communicate. They can't read your mind, just like you can't read their mind. So, it works both ways. And you have to feel really confident and have the courage to have those conversations. It's really a matter of how you say it. And also, again, perceptions, to talk about your perceptions. What do you see your relationship being? Where and how do you want your relationship to grow as you move into the new year? And really, we're at a perfect time for this, because coming back, when you come back from the holiday, everyone's refreshed and ready to go, ready to start a new year, people want to have their goals and their plans in place. The next one is to align your goals with your manager's goals. Well, if you don't know what their goals are and what their mission is, you can't align yourself. This is something that assistants struggle with constantly. They'll tell me that they don't know how to align their goals. So maybe they are aware of their executive's goals, but they don't know how to align them. So you have to think it through a little bit, but first you have to know what your executive's goals are. So make sure that's clearly communicated to you for 2017. and then sit and take some quiet time and develop your goals around their goals. So everything should be lining up. Let's see, the next step we have, get engaged in the scope of your manager's work. So this is different than a to-do list. And in fact, if I were to ask you, just think for a moment, how would you define the scope of your executive's work, to me? If I asked you that question, you might say, well, my executive travels a lot, and my executive is responsible for weekly meetings with her staff, and my executive has these particular reports that she has to generate every week. What I would say to you is that's a to-do list. That's the task list. That's not the scope. So I'll use myself as an example. It's the best way to explain this to you. You might think the scope of my work is training, teaching, hosting an annual conference every year, writing books, writing blogs, writing the Monday Motivators, doing on-site training. That's not the scope of my work. That's how I achieve the scope. The scope of my work is to improve the quality of work life for administrative professionals everywhere. The scope of my work is to get companies and management to understand that they need to invest in their administrative professionals. They need to invest in their development and make that financial, investment. The scope of my work is to be the visionary for this profession and to lead it into the future. The scope of my work is to make sure that every assistant who comes here to like our world-class assistant program or our conference is treated like a VIP. So if Jasmine knows and Malia knows the scope is to make you feel like a VIP when you come to my events, on their own, they will figure out what can they do to make you feel special, like bringing extra flowers in when we have world-class assistant, we have balloons at graduation. They do extra things. If Jasmine knows that our scope is to be the visionaries in this profession, in the training and development industry, then Jasmine will look at our competitors. She will make sure that we are staying ahead. She will also look at what trends are going on in general in the workplace and let me know about those. So do you see, if you understand the scope, you're going to be a better assistant, you're going to be proactive, take the initiative, you will become more valuable to your executive, and when you become more valuable, your executive will want to build a partnership with you. So you have to do your end of it. And teamwork and just getting the job done is not the same as having a partnership. Next is to establish processes for your daily activities. When you're in partnership, you have processes in place for just the day-to-day work that you do. So to give you an example, going back to our guide, which this was written a year ago, but I've been teaching this for 25 years. A large portion of this book has to do with processes, and here are some of the processes that we cover in here, but these are the processes I teach executives and assistants when I do one-on-one coaching. So there's processes for having your regularly scheduled meetings, processes on calendar management and meeting preparation. So you're making sure that you're both very clear on how calendars are going to be managed and preparing your executives for meetings. You're both going to be clear on that. Email management, prioritization, you're both clear on that. Jasmine and I have, maybe you've heard me talk about the ABC system. Jasmine knows A means it's got to be done within the next 24 hours. B means within the next few days. C means within the next 3 to 4 weeks most. So we know that. That's our priority, our little coding system we use. Another process management is project management. So what are your processes you and your executive agree to on managing projects? The sixth one is travel The 7th one, we even have processes for telephone calls. Yes, people still do make telephone calls. And number 8, processes on follow-up systems. What is our system? How do we utilize that system? What is Jasmine going to follow up with? What do I want to follow up with myself? We come to agreement on all of these processes. Now, we do have to tweak them from time to time as the business grows, as the business changes, as I have to delegate more. And Jasmine actually, now that she's in a position of vice president, she is really having to do this with Malia. She is delegating to Malia. I'm delegating more to Malia so that Jasmine can be freed up for larger responsibilities. But we're still in agreement. And that's what you need to do. You need to take the time and talk with your executive and make sure your processes are in place. And the last item is to anticipate each other's needs. Easier said than done, right? And many of you already have to do that. And I know you're really great at doing that. So I want to encourage you to continue to do that. To anticipate needs, you have to listen. You have to pay attention. You have to read everything. And that's where the more engaged you are with the scope of your executive's work, the better you'll be able to anticipate. So a lot of these strategies tie together as well. I mean, clarifying expectations and perception, that ties into the communication piece, that ties into your daily huddles, because if you're having daily huddles, that's where you clarify expectations, you clarify perceptions. The daily activities, that ties into, if you're having daily huddles, you're making sure you're on track with your daily activities, with your different processes. So all of these actually are intertwined. And I will end by saying it's about consistency. If you're going to have a really good partnership, you have to be consistent. You have to consistently do these things. Now, yes, you do get off track every once in a while. For example, again, if I'm traveling and I'm gone for a long period of time, or Jasmine and I during these 12 days of webinars, our schedule's a little different. We've had to adapt and change, but as soon as it's over, we're going to be right back into our normal routine. So that really helps, especially when we live in a world of chaos and we're working under time constraints. So I think that is it for this Monday, Jasmine.
Wow, that was really wonderful, Joan. And we had so many questions come up in the chat today. So I know we aren't doing Q&A during these short webinars, but we are saving and archiving the chat and reviewing those. And we will be answering a lot of the questions as we can, whether it's via Facebook Live or in a future webinar or blog post. So please continue to watch and follow for those answers to some of your questions. And if you don't follow us on Facebook already, you can find us at facebook.com/Office Dynamics. And we do live broadcasts just as often as we can. And those are short like this. And we just really dive into one particular topic when we do that. So it's time for our special offer, and you may have noticed that Joan was reading from notes from one of her books, and that was the Executives and Assistants Working in Partnership. It's a guide, a comprehensive guide, and that is bundled with some other products that for retail value, I think is $186. So that is the guide plus Managing Your Executive's Day and the Creating Transformative Partnerships. So all of that together here, I'll display it for you so we can see. You've got the CD, or it's not a CD, it's an MP3. You've got videos for your manager. There's like several videos available in a library for your manager to view, or for you to view and share with your manager. And we have the travel planning guide, the comprehensive travel planning guide included in that, the gatekeeper's guide, which is telephone protocol, included in that. All of that is $186 value. So that's available right now for $50, and that's available until Friday of this week. So please be sure to get that if that is something that is of interest to you. And then we also want to tell you about
Jasmine,
Chicago.
Oh, I just want to interrupt you really quick. I'm sorry, but I see if people are checking out. I just thought of something I want to make sure they do know in case they have to leave. That our February webinar we're going to talk more about this subject, correct?
Yes, we're going to dive in deeper in February, and we are also getting even deeper than that in our Chicago event, which will be a full-day program with both Joan and I. We're kicking off Administrative Professionals Week on April 24th. We're going to be partnering with Shure and using some space that they're giving to us for that event. So we have a limited number of seats. I believe less than 140 seats are available for that event, and you can actually get registered as early as today. We do have the registration now open. So I believe our webinar administrator can put the link in there, and I'll try and drop it in the chat for you as well. That's the link to the Chicago event. But we have the Building a Better Partnership bundle. We have the webinar coming up in February. We're digging in more, and we have the Chicago event where we'll be talking even more about how to build that star partnership with your executive. Also, it is time.
Yay! I gotta get my bell out. I only have 4 more days of ringing my bell.
It's 4 more days of ringing that bell. It's time for giveaways. And today is no different than any of our other webinars that we've been doing through the 12 Days of Christmas series. We will be giving away 5 integrating work, home, and your personal life recorded webinars, a value of $49 to 5 lucky winners from today's webinar. Our first winner is Ashley. Ashley, you are at New Holland Brew, and your email starts with Fossati, F-O-S-S-A-T-I. So Ashley, you are one of our winners. Erin, and that's Erin, B-O-H-M-B-A-C-H at Marsden. So Erin, congratulations. We also have Denise, and that's Denise Ewing at PHPNI. So your last name is E-W-I-N-G. Denise, congratulations. And let's see who else is one of our winners. We have 2 more.
They love the bells. Sorry. While we're waiting to announce our next winner.
Diane Fisher, Raymond and James. So Raymond James, Diane Fisher. And Karen Delgado, congratulations. It's
great.
I think it's the state of Colorado, so congratulations, Karen Delgado. And this was Brian's idea, our webinar administrator, because we are feeling very generous and having so much fun giving away. We decided to give away 5 more webinars today. So 5 more of our integrating work, home, and personal life. So the gifts just keep on coming.
Stay on, don't go anywhere.
Yes, you didn't win, you still have a chance. Let's see, Zekia Brunson. Then your first name is Z-E-K-I-A. So congratulations, Zekia. And also Dresden Loafman at Maxim Integrated. Congratulations, Dresden.
Yay, our friends at Maxim.
Yeah, we know Maxim. And let's see, Karen M. And I believe your last name is Mahaffey, M-A-H-A-F-F-E-Y. Karen, you're in Beaver Creek, Ohio. And Darla Wilson at TCCO. And we have 2 more. Let's see here. Lydia Scoville, S-C-O-V-I-L-L-E. And last winner for today, Terry with a Y.
Wow.
Terry, I believe you're at folinger.org. So Terry, congratulations, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
What do I kick off?
Oh, sorry. If Joan, do you have any words before we close it out?
No, I was just saying what a great way to kick off the week.
Yes, lots of giveaways. We're going to be doing that all week long with fun surprises for you, and just you be sure you tune in on Wednesday because it's going to be another very festive day, if that clues you into anything there. We've got a lot in store for you this week. And of course, like always, be sure to follow the blog at officedynamics.com/blog so that you can pick up your webinar certificate and any other notes from today's program. All right, thanks everyone, and we will see you again tomorrow for the program. creating your career portfolio.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.